Okay. Got it. All right, computer.
You got it?
You just have to do a nice little revamp. Okay. That's cool.
Hi, friends. Thank you for being here. I appreciate Val, and I think you might be frozen.
All right.
I appreciate you guys all for being here. I appreciate you spending this Wednesday evening with us. We are going to do our day 4 of our series, and this is a trip down Feelings Lane. We are, in case anybody didn't remember, I'm Nikia. I'm the founder of Wildflower Lifestyle Coaching. I do lifestyle and wellness coaching primarily for women of the ages from 30 to 50 who are going through life transitions. Also, if there's any other support that you could possibly need, whether it's empty nesting, a career change, relationship change, or just self-discovery. We have been talking about mental health awareness, and we've touched on several topics over the last month. This is sadly our last session. My co-host is having a streaming problem, I think. She's fixing her Wi-Fi issue. I thank you guys for being here. Let me see. I'm going to share this video really quick with some folks. I appreciate you guys being here. So we are going to talk about feelings today. We very much have, we're going to talk about the feelings wheel. There are 7 or 8 feelings that people always go to. And we are going to spread light and share about feelings that are outside the initial 7 or 8 that are on this wheel. So for me, the feelings lane, I want to wait just a moment for Valen to be able to give us a disclaimer. And that's how we start every show. We're going to wait for her to get her Wi-Fi taken care of. I hope that everyone has had a really good day. Today's been really sporadic for me. I have a ton of energy. And I had just really broken up meetings and time frames, and some things got real discombobulated. So I feel a little scattered. I start something and I cannot concentrate enough to finish. And I've been jumping all the way around, all over. So I feel like my attention has just been real sporadic, almost how I feel when I have too much caffeine, but that wasn't the case. I had a really great cup of coffee from Monrovia this morning, but I don't think it had enough caffeine to create this business. I hope that you guys are watching on here, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I hope that I can see everyone's comments. Let's see here. If you are on our stream, please share with me where you're watching from. I'd love to see that. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. And I would love some engagement. I definitely am curious if there are some feelings that you want us to talk about. If you feel like there's some feelings that you need to give voice to, I would definitely appreciate that. And then it looks like Valen is coming back in here. Again, this is very indicative of what my day has been like.
Hey, I think I am back.
Happy Wednesday, Valen. Nope, I don't think you are. We were having a great little chat before we came on. Either way, we'll catch up. You know, technology.
Hello.
Hello.
happy Wednesday. I am having some okay.
The internet does not want us to be great today.
I see you.
I hear
Let's
you.
see if we
I
can
see you
move
frozen. I think you're coming back here.
together.
Nope. Well, I will just keep chatting. Today, my topic of conversation on a couple of the lives that I already did was about consistency. And I hope to continue to show up in this space consistently for my audience. I am still very curious if there's feelings that anyone would like to share. I'm not sure if I can see the comments from YouTube. I'm pretty sure that I can. If there's anyone that's watching on YouTube, please tap in the comments to let me know that you're there. Let me go over there and see what's happening on my YouTube channel. In case you didn't know, I do currently have a YouTube channel, and the channel is The Wildflower Coach over on YouTube. And I want to see if it's got me live here. Nope, it's just going to show a recording, looks like. It's not streaming. I should check in with my mother-in-law to find out if it's actually streaming. I hope that everyone's having a happy Wednesday. I hope that everyone is taking good care of themselves. I know that the weather around the country is just kind of sporadic. It's very cold and rainy some places. It is nice and warm here, which I'm loving. So, but I hope that you guys are okay. Looks like it's still live on YouTube. I hope that you guys are having a really, really great day. I want to continue talking about, looks like Valen's coming, about this. And this is actually a video that I'm going to have to edit. Can you believe that? See ya. Oh. I thought you were going to the gym. Oh. Valen, you back? So, while she's working on that, we're going to talk about the feelings wheel. We're going to show you the cute little trip down feelings lane. This is our game board, and this was inspired by Ubiquity Educational Solutions game board, which is Feelings Lane. It is a trip down feelings lane. They presented this at TABC this year, and immediately when I saw Valen do this with their team, with my husband's team, I thought, I want to do something with this. I thought it would be important to do this. And so it was great that Valen and I decided to get together for May for Mental Health Awareness Month. And this was the most exciting part. This was the catalyst for our entire series. We built everything around this game. And it definitely helped to put some vocabulary to other words that are on the feelings wheel. It was lovely to see some educators, older, younger, in between, really have to come up with and figure out the word that goes with these definitions of a feeling. It was very interesting to watch how they very much only use certain words in their vocabulary, and they have a large vocabulary. They take care, they're educated, right? And they're educators. But social emotional learning is something that is it's the driving force of Ubiquity Educational Services, and social emotional learning is very important to the education system. It is what is helping us to create better children. When the staff and when the educators are able to work on social emotions. Hi, Valen.
Hello, hello. I am here a little flustered. I will say hello, Nakia. Hello, people. I have had some technical difficulties over the last, let's see, 12 minutes.
And that's okay. I just kind of talked randomly. I am well versed in random conversation. Maybe take a quick deep breath. And so I was just sharing with them how we got to the place of starting our series,
Mm-hmm.
how the trip down Feelings Lane with Malcolm, we never really named our ladies. With Malcolm, how that started our trajectory to get here for this series. And I'm so excited to finally be able to be at this point. It's bittersweet. I'm sad that our series is coming to an end, but I know that we will get together and do something again soon. We have lots of topics, but I was saying how social emotional learning is very important in the educational system, and that is the basis and driving force around Ubiquity Educational Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And so watching this game be played, I knew that it was something that it tied in very much with coaching for me. So I
Mm-hmm.
do introduce the feelings wheel to my clients, not in the same way that a mental health specialist introduces them, but even more about giving language and showing them that there are other emotions besides sad, mad, and angry. And so maybe having them think of a different emotion that they can put to words. Like if instead
Mm-hmm.
of saying I'm sad, which you may be, but are you also disappointed? Are you also anxious? Are you also any of these other things? Is your anger showing up? Because that's what presents, but is it really disappointment? Is it really fear? And
Right.
so just kind of putting some language to that. We have a feelings wheel that hangs on our refrigerator at home. All of everyone in our family goes to therapy. And so we all are well versed in using some of these. There are very many times where you have a teenager and you ask them a question and their response is one of these words. And I need them to elaborate. And as you get them to elaborate and look for another word, even if
Mm-hmm.
they can't figure out the word, they start to discuss with us what the feelings are and how they're feeling. And then we come to a conclusion. It may be a word on here, but it may not be angry. It may not be fearful. It may not be sad. It may be something much more in depth. So I wanted to just, I was kind of not killing time, but I was just sharing some background while you were having your technical difficulties. I didn't
Yes.
want to talk too much about feelings lane because I definitely wanted you to be able to give your disclaimer, but from without a disclaimer, that is how I use the feelings wheel in my practice. I often just send other adults to Amazon to order one. Valen and I had the pleasure 2 weeks ago at the DFW Black Moms Walking event. We did the 5K, and one of the vendors that was out there is Chill Counseling. And they had a beautiful, like, little resin wheel that was up on a little pedestal. And I am going to look very heartily for that. I feel like that could sit in somebody's Christmas gift. I feel like that may sit on my desk at some point. So I think that needs to be in one of our homes. So
I agree. I thought it was so darling, and it was glass, I believe.
yes, glass or resin, either way, it was gorgeous. Yeah, it probably was glass. It just was gorgeous and sitting there, and it made you want to read it. Like, I
Yeah.
want to talk about these feelings. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. Yes. So let's go ahead and get this disclaimer going so we can start our trip down Feelings Lane. So, with this being our last meeting in this series, like Nakia said, there will be plenty more to come. But just wanted to let everyone know that before we get started, there is anything that we share here is meant to be educational and support and inspire. It's not a replacement for therapy. But if you do need some additional support or more personal one-on-one support, we definitely highly recommend you to go check out or locate your local licensed mental health therapist or mental health provider in your area, because no matter what, you definitely deserve that individual care and time just to hang out and get to know a little bit more about yourself.
Yes. All
So,
right.
with us starting, I am going to say this at the top that my headphones are doing some weird things. However, I can still hear you, and it sounds like you can still hear me. So
Yes.
we are good to go. So, like Nakia said, this has been an activity that we have, I would say, adopted from Ubiquity Edutainment Solutions. Really focusing on wanting to get other people to understand that there are more than just the core common emotions that we typically hear every day: mad, sad, angry, happy, and some of the others. But there are an array of emotions that we just do not spend time really thinking about and spending time labeling throughout our day. Maybe because we've never heard our caregivers or our family members or people in our circle kind of growing up say these words or say these descriptions of their behaviors, or there has just been some sort of maybe custom or rule in your household or in your community where there were these four emotions: happy, 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 and happy was the only ones that were actually allowed to be expressed in your upbringing, in your childhood, in your school setting. So in this activity that we're going to be doing today, you are going to hopefully walk away with just at least one additional emotion or feeling that you can use and label how you're feeling moving forward. So one of the things that Nakia said is our feelings and our emotions really help us give language to what's going on in the inside. And it's helps us get clear, helps us understand a little bit more about how to communicate with one another. But also, if you don't have the words to figure out what's going on, what if you use somebody's body language to figure out what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Could that be a little bit inaccurate if you chose to go just based off of somebody's body language to figure out how they were feeling or how they were thinking? So when it comes to understanding and getting more language, it can help you communicate and have better relationships. Kind of going back to the social and emotional learning skills, it is something that will truly allow you space to kind of access really key important words and feelings so you can then articulate yourself to your friends and family around you.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the sayings that I have around a trip down feelings lane is, what we face transforms us. So if we're able to kind of look at the things that we're facing and kind of look at it head on and be clear about it, we'll be able to change and transform and get more clear and more awareness of how we're feeling on the inside. So if we are going to start down this trip.
Yes, we're going to add our game board to the board. And I was hoping that we have some other people to play, but it's just us. And
All
so
right.
I think that we can just do an example of how it works here. I am definitely pulling up
Yes.
the rest of my information.
Okay. Let me
All right.
get this going. Okay. So with, I can actually zoom it on in a little bit. So if we start at the bottom on the right corner, let's see, by Our Lady in the Purple. We'll just go ahead and call them by, what they're wearing right now. That first bubble right above start says aware of and able to manage one's own feelings and reactions. So if you kind of think about that out loud, I want you to maybe think about, has there been a time when you've noticed somebody being aware of like their own feelings and like being aware of their own reactions? Or have you ever been able to do that? And what did you call it when you noticed that? What did you call it when you saw one of your friends doing that?
The first time I feel like I saw that happening, I was surprised to see somebody else be able to kind of manage their anger. It was really anger at the time. It was something that the situation was definitely something that I would have had an immediate reaction to. And I would have probably spouted off something, and they didn't have a reaction. And I was so surprised. And later we came to have a conversation about why they didn't. So I have seen that. Now that I'm more mature, I can recognize that in myself, that I am aware and able to manage my own feelings and reactions. So, I think we froze again. Is there anyone else that is joining us that is aware of and able to manage their own feelings and reactions? And how do you feel when that happens for you? What does that look and feel like for you? Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel overwhelmed? So go ahead with Valen.
Yeah, I would say, I will probably feel overwhelmed with that example because unable to, produce an effect, like kind of helpless. When I feel overwhelmed, it kind of gets me stuck. It kind of gets me unable to produce an effect.
Yes.
But I'm also thinking about how it doesn't really kind of make me feel helpless sometimes, because when you're overwhelmed, I always think about just having too many ideas, maybe having too many options, maybe having anxiety kind of get in the way of you producing that effect.
Today.
Right, exactly. Right. Just too many options. And being able to manage that can become overwhelming. Very true. Let's see.
It was 100% the effect of not having a to-do list. I had stuff on my calendar. and I managed the things on my calendar, but I never filled in the spaces in between. And I have 3 different pockets of things that I want to do every day. And because I did not give them a space, I literally spun my wheels today. This is a prime example. This is awareness for me that I knew. I was like, I am overwhelmed. Like, you know what? And then I just sat there and did nothing.
Oh, that's a good one. Good one. Because like I said, having too many options or having too many running or rushing thoughts,
Yes.
competing thoughts too. Oh, I can do this. Oh, maybe I can do this. Okay, I have 5 minutes. Maybe I can do this.
Yes.
And then your body kind of gets overworked and overwhelmed.
And yes,
Helpless.
ultimately, I ended up on the patio with my computer all afternoon because that's where I wanted to be. But yeah.
Right on, spot on, because now I can understand how hopeless or helpless can be connected with feeling overwhelmed.
Yes.
Because when you're overwhelmed, you can have a whole bunch of ideas, but helpless in making the decision to just pick one and go with it, right?
Right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, what about our next one, which is, let's see, highly skilled or able to do something successfully? Okay. Now I want you to think about a time when you've seen someone be highly skilled in an area or a topic. What would you label it as? Or how would you describe that person if you were to saw them highly skilled or successful?
I think probably skilled or successful, but I know that that's not what it is. I think.
Good point. You're talking about attributes for sure. Yeah. And feelings and emotions and characteristics too can sometimes be interchangeable when people are talking about them. A lot of people think that being successful, it can sometimes be a feeling or an emotion. And what it really is, what if it's courage? What if it's being accomplished?
Yes. Or capable.
Or capable.
Yeah.
I think.
And I guess I wouldn't have put courage there, but you're right. Like it is very courageous to have to work at something and learn it and be able to do something successfully, because you have to get through your fear to just kind of keep working at it until you get it well, because otherwise you're still just very much a novice at it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's spot on, because our human nature is to believe that we can set our mind to something and then we can achieve it and we can be successful at it that one time around. But we all know that being successful at something takes practice, takes effort, takes time. But yet our lovely brain it does the thing where it tells us that we might just only need to do it that one time, and having the courage to push past that and say, actually, this highly skilled activity that I'm trying to master is going to need me to be courageous. It's going to need me to continue saying, hey, there is a reason why I want to be skilled and I'm highly successful. And it's because I'm choosing to kind of overcome and choose courage instead of fear.
And push past it. Because there are so many times we avoid the things that we aren't great at. Or if you weren't successful at it the first time, you're like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not good at it. And you can just decide that that's it. Like, I'm not going to try anymore. But it does take courage to go back and do something again and again and again to get it better. Yes.
Yes. Yes, it does. Okay, you want to go ahead and say the next one?
It's capable of or susceptible to being attacked, damaged, or hurt.
Susceptible of being attacked, damaged, or hurt. Kind of feels like
Vulnerable.
I want to say vulnerable, but my first thought is hurt, because feeling hurt, being hurt is an emotion and a feeling for sure.
Very much.
But when I think of hurt, I think of, that's kind of like one of those commonly used ones, right? One of those commonly used emotions that maybe our caregivers or people around us have said a lot throughout our life. So if we were to maybe stretch ourselves just a little bit more, and if you can recall going back to the feelings wheel, there are different levels or different layers in that feelings wheel that's broken up into, and I think it just gets more and more specific. So if we stay with hurt, what else? What's maybe something on like another level, a level 2 type of hurt? What about vulnerable? Yes. What about exposed?
Very much. Yes.
Right?
When you're capable, yes, you are exposed. We don't do that often. That's a very scary one, to expose yourself. That is something that gets stripped away, I believe, when you've been hurt, when your trust is broken, when you have been damaged or attacked. Exposure is not something that you open yourself up to readily, not on purpose. Like, it happens, but it's definitely not on purpose.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like, if we think of kind of like an umbrella term, hurt can be the first layer. And then underneath the umbrella and underneath that first layer could be exposed, could be vulnerable, could be, ashamed, actually, too.
Yes, very much.
Because when you're ashamed, you do feel attacked. You do feel damaged. Unseen. You don't want to be seen.
Yes. And then what led you to the shame? Was it something hurtful that someone said? Was it a conversation that you overheard? Was it a look? Was it a change in relationship? So what was it that hurt you? And I like you said, like, the umbrella is hurt, but all the other layers that are underneath it. I love being able to talk about this. I think that it's such an important conversation.
It is. It gives you, the cool thing about this conversation and this activity is it really is giving yourself permission to access the whole array.
Yes.
The whole array of emotions, because truly, like I mentioned, we don't get access to them unless our caregivers or the people around us are modeling how to communicate and label these emotions. So you are telling yourself today in this call, when you watch it, I'm giving myself permission to access and feel and label all of the emotions that pop up in my body, because I can.
And you get to explore them, right? I think a lot of times, for me, exploring the different emotions really got very deep, and it gave me the opportunity to figure out what my triggers were, to figure out the things that make me happy and unhappy, to figure out the things that I need to avoid or do to make sure that this emotion has come to fruition. It also gave me the opportunity to work through them. So there's a lot of times we will stuff something down. You'll have somebody will make you feel a certain way and you just kind of keep it moving. But then somebody else will do something and that will trigger a response that isn't meant for them. You didn't know it was stuffed way down in there.
Right.
But if you get to explore them, work through them, you're less reactive the next time it happens. You can put a voice to it. You may not even react the next time it happens. You can say, you know what? Somebody mistakenly labeled me that, but that's not
Mhm.
true. You can
Right.
put a voice to it. It is a lot of work to get through all of these emotions, which is why it's important to have a mental health therapist
Yeah.
in your purview. I encourage everyone to find someone that they can go to and talk to and have an impartial conversation to dig in
Mhm.
the layers of these, because you do have emotions that you just aren't talking about and you don't know that they're untapped. You think that you're just angry. You think that your aunt is just angry. There's layers and layers and layers of stuff that she
Layer.
hasn't worked through because she can't put a voice to it. So,
Oh, yeah. There's so many things that you said in that, in your explanation and in your experience that I want to highlight. But one specifically is the multiple layers and having a trigger moment or a trigger emotion, and it kind of snowballing you into wanting to explore, well, if I felt this big thing, like for example, anger, what else could I be feeling under that? I might be
mhm,
feeling shame. I actually might be feeling disappointed. I actually might be feeling um, um, powerless. Right. So there
yeah,
are so many, and you can label as many emotions as you like at any given time for
yes,
any experience that you're going through. The cool thing is, in this series that we've developed, one of very many, have to continue saying that,
yeah,
there is um, a real goal to help people get awareness and just get more comfortable and gain a little bit more knowledge around how they're showing up, how they're talking
mhm,
to themselves, and do they like it? Do
yes,
they like it? And if they don't, the cool thing is we have everything we need to make a different choice tomorrow.
yes. Valen, can you speak to having more than one emotion at a time or competing emotions?
Absolutely. There are tons, like I mentioned, of emotions that you can have, and there's room and space for both, for all. I will say it really helps to kind of just label them as much as possible and
Mhm,
just recognize that you don't have to hold on to all of the emotions at the same time. You can kind of look at one. For example, you can feel overwhelmed, tired, and frustrated. You notice all of them pop up because you are about to sit for an exam that you did study for, but you are nervous. You can look at feeling overwhelmed and you can put it down because that's going to distract you from doing your best on the test.
mhm,
You can look at feeling um, powerless or something like that, but that's not going to help you in that test in that moment. So you can put that down too. You might feel overwhelmed. You can look at it. It can be some sort of reminder, but you can also put that down.
mhm.
And then you might also feel proud because you finally got to where you wanted to be, which is in front of this exam, about to sit for it or about to take it, or maybe almost done with it. So you feel
Right.
proud. You can look at that feeling and emotion, label it as good, as it's lighting you up, it's actually recharging you, and you can keep looking at it. You can keep
Yeah.
holding on to it. You don't have to put that one down if it's lighting you up or if it's bringing you joy in that
Right.
moment for that situation.
I love that. I love that you said label them, acknowledge them, but put
Yeah.
them down. They're
Yeah.
there, but they're not the ones that you need to focus on. You can have them and they can sit in the background, but they
Mhm.
don't need to be your focus. And just because it is your emotion, it doesn't make it true. Like, does
Right.
does it have to be the truth? Are you overwhelmed? A little bit, but that doesn't have to be the overarching feeling. That doesn't
Right.
have to be the thing that you focus the most on. It's sitting back there. You've named it. You know that it's there. That it's fine. But proud is the one that you're going to bring into the test with you. And proud is the one that's going to help you move forward. You know that you have these other options, but they don't have to be your focus. So I do love that. I do believe that people feel like they cannot have, it has to be one or the other. You can't be excited and sad at the same time.
You're
It
right.
is the definition of bittersweet. It can be. You can be very excited. I'm bittersweet that Cameron is going to be a senior on Friday. I am so excited for him that he has gotten this to this place, that this is the beginning of a future for him. Senior year is going to be great. I'm still very sad that it's my baby. It's his last year, and it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be a change. I can hold both emotions. What I'm
Yes.
going to carry with me is the sweetness of it so that I don't ruin his senior year. I
Mhm.
know that it's sad, but that is not going to be, I'm trying to not let that be my overarching emotion for the year that is coming, because that's not the feeling that I want to leave him with. So
Right.
it is a matter of, I know what I feel like. I've named them. They're there. It's fine, but that's not the one I have to focus on.
Yes. Well said. And you are giving yourself permission as an adult, which we all have, to unlock holding
Mhm.
both of those emotions. Like I mentioned
Mhm.
before, and we talked about growing up, you might not have had very much opportunities to show this whole array of emotions. But as we get older and older and we get more and more independent and less dependent on our caregivers, we get to have a voice. We get
Mhm.
to notice our voice. We get to name and label our voice, and we get to unlock new emotions and new ways to look at ourselves. For
Yeah,
sure.
I love
So
that.
let's see if we can go to our next one, which is, let's see, given approval or recognition to be valid or correct. Giving approval.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge is a good one. Given approval. Okay. Recognize to be valid or correct. Accepted.
Oh, 100%.
Because
That is,
when you're accepted, you're given approval for
okay.
sure. It's when I think of accepted, I think of like a checkbox. I think of like you aced it. It's completed.
Right.
Completed, but that's not a feeling. Okay. Look at me. Attributes. All right. When I think of accepted, recognized to be valid or correct, my brain wants to say validated, but that's not an emotion.
Okay.
Let's see. What's another guess? Let's see. What is the guess? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
if you're given approval or recognized to be valid or correct,
it's difficult to kind of look at these definitions and figure out what emotion or what feeling you can label it as, especially if you might not have seen it very often,
right,
or you don't acknowledge it within yourself.
Okay.
So sometimes it's hard for people to accept the things that they've done well. It's hard for them to accept maybe certain things in their life, and they may not know what getting approval or feeling correct or validated might look like.
Okay. Very, very true. I think sometimes we also look for that in the wrong places.
Yes.
You're looking for it from people who can't give it to you,
Mm-hmm.
or who don't, they may have a competing belief about you, and so they're not going to validate you. They're not going to accept you. They're not going to approve of you because it stirs up something in them. And so I do think that's a very internal feeling, that is
Mm-hmm.
not an external feeling. And I think our country wants us, society wants us to think that this particular feeling is external, and I don't agree.
I totally agree with you. And for this definition, it is accepted. And it is a very individualized like emotion that is hard to explain. It's easier to explain it in behaviors when you're not getting
Right.
accepted, and when you are
Yes.
being validated and when you're not.
True. I do. And I do think your acceptance, it's objective, right? Like,
Mhm.
I do think that if you have a group of people that doesn't accept you, doesn't matter to you. Like,
Yeah.
does their opinion of you, does it matter? Not in a way of I want people to like me, but is their opinion of you, their acceptance or approval going to benefit in you any
Yeah.
way besides your ego? So if their acceptance and approval isn't supporting your family, if it's not supporting your values and beliefs, if it's not
Mhm.
supporting your daily habit, doesn't matter if that's okay. And I do think, again, that's why I think it's very intrinsic. You need to be
Mhm.
able to move that's in a way that's acceptable for you, and the people that are supposed to appreciate it do.
Absolutely. It's important to really ask yourself that question. And I always ask myself, are the things and the people and the places that I'm choosing to be a part of or be in, is it leading me towards the Valen or the life that I want? Or is it kind of keeping me stuck where I am?
Yes. Yes. Am I
Mhm.
asked, do they have a limiting belief that is
Right.
keeping me from believing? Is this
Mhm.
the opinion that I want? Do I want to be accepted by this group of people? Because
Mhm.
is it my ego, or is it actually a value of mine that this is an acceptable group of people? So, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might have another conversation coming soon, because what we're really highlighting and talking about is levels of influence,
Yes.
friends, circle of friends,
Oh,
and building community, and
mhm.
how being social can really help you gain awareness about who you are,
Yes.
and it can kind of give you more courage and confidence to seek those hard or overwhelming or difficult tasks, because
Right.
you're getting different perspectives from different individuals in your circle, in your social support circle.
Mhm.
Or,
I def
like
Go
Nakia
ahead.
said, they might push you back. They might push you back, and they might have a limiting belief too that gets you stuck. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I do think I was having a conversation, and I've seen this a lot
Mm-hmm.
recently online, where people are saying, if you can't show up as your best self in these groups with friends, with family, are they places you need to be showing up? And this is definitely a conversation that I've had with my teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying, I definitely don't code switch, but I have a professional me, and I have the very fun loving home me. They're
Mm-hmm.
not, you get a glimpse of home me, but I don't give everybody all of me. But if I had to work someplace where I couldn't show up as myself at all, I couldn't work there. If I had friends where I don't get to show up as myself and I have to put on a whole nother
Yeah.
persona, is that really a space that I want to be in? And do I need to be accepted and validated by these people who get a fake me? So
Mm.
I do feel like this is, yeah, I feel like this is a July topic.
Yeah, this could be a July topic, a conversation. Hmm,
Because
who
I was
you
going to
are,
talk
who you
about
are.
friendship. Yep.
Yeah, who you are and who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're absolutely right. It is difficult to code switch. Sometimes you forget what person or what identity, what part of you is
Yes.
supposed to be showing up in this specific space. And it's overwhelming. It is difficult to maintain and keep up
Yes.
because what you're doing is truly performing. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
Nakia, you're right. Like, let's put a pin in
And then
that.
that,
Pin in that, not a pencil, a pin in that, because that is such a well needed topic, I think, in our day and age, to just give space to ladies about taking off the mask,
yes.
like letting your hair hang down.
Yes. Glam Diamond by Karen, thank you for joining us. And I'm thank you for your comment. She said, love what you said. I appreciate that. I hope that this is beneficial to anybody who's watching, whether you're watching live or you get to watch us later. I really
Mhm.
do hope that this topic serves you. I'm passionate about this. I've been so excited about this since we did it since Valen did it at Tapsy. So for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And who knows, we might get a couple of these, because a trip down Fillings Lane, like we said, like Nakia showed us that whole circle, ladies and
Yeah.
gents, and it is so many emotions underneath layer 1 and layer 2.
Yes.
So please stay tuned for what we have coming up. And as we go back to this trip down Fillings Lane, I'll read the next one, the third from the top, which is mental or moral strength to confront pain and uncertainty. Mental or moral strength. Okay. To confront pain and
I
uncertainty.
almost feel like that is courage. Do you think that's courage?
That, yes, spot on. Spot on, because you're right. If you think about it, let me pause. When you saw that definition, what made you think, okay, this is courage? What made you label courage?
Confronting pain.
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe not even the moral strength about it, but just the confrontation of pain, and to just kind of walk through it. It is the old adage of if you're going through hell, don't stay there. I think it takes courage to keep moving forward when things are uncertain, when you're afraid, definitely through fear.
Yeah.
Maybe fearless.
Fearless is a good one too. But you said something, you said confronting the pain. But what really made me pick courage is the moral strength. The mental and moral strength, because when I think of mental and moral strength, moral is like it's kind of like our anchor, kind of like our driving force. It's like our inner voice, our conscious, the right and wrong part in our body that tells us when we are ultimately doing the things that we say that we want to do, or we're doing the things that we say that we don't want to do any longer.
Yes.
I think the moral strength represents having courage, because it's really difficult to stay the course. It's really difficult to stay aligned with where you're supposed to go and not veer off into la la land or like a whole different path. It takes courage, and determination.
Yes.
To stay right here, focused on what you have going on. And courage and fearlessness definitely go hand in hand for this one.
Yes, I agree. I would say definitely. It's wonderful to watch someone to watch somebody else do something courageous. It gives me personally such a boost of confidence. It's not even me, but to know the struggle that somebody is going through and to watch them walk through it and get on the other side gives me so much hope. Not that I want to see anybody struggle, but we all are going to have struggles, right? And I do think that it's such a renewal of faith for me, especially if it's my children, especially if it's a loved one and you have kind of like a backseat view, like you get to see like the behind the scenes and you know what it took for them to get to the other side. It gives me hope for the next time I'm running into something like that. Like, other people are going through something harder. Other people have walked through something harder. It's one that just kind of fuels you on. So
Absolutely. I mean, all you're doing is really just talking about and highlighting, accepting like yourself as a human being, right? Like
human experience. Like,
we are here for the human experience. We both, what I like to say, we both bleed red.
yeah,
There's no true difference outside of we all have decisions, and sometimes some others may have more decisions than we do.
right.
However, there is always something that you can learn from someone else going through something that you've never been through.
Yes. Which is one of the reasons that I want to always share whatever the struggle was, whatever the experience was, which is probably one of the basis of my coaching missions. Like, it is, I don't want you to walk through this alone. I may not be going through this, but somebody else may have. Or I want to build this community so that you can speak with women who are younger and older and coming from different walks of life who've walked through different things. We spend a lot of time keeping our struggles to ourselves. And I don't mean to like expose all of your business for the judgment, but I do think that there's something important, something to be said to be able to speak to somebody younger or in a different season to you, than to be able to give them encouragement to say, you can go through, you can get through this. I got through this. This is what helped me. It may or may not serve you, but maybe you can have a variation of this for your life. Maybe this gives you a new perspective. I remember walking through a time with teenagers and thinking, how, like, I even asked my father, like, how do you still break bread with me after I was a rotten teenager? I needed to know how he got through that, so I knew that I was going to get on the other side of it. And so, or just any season, like, I always ask questions because I need to know that somebody else survived it. Well, if I know that you survived it and you came out and nobody was worse for the wear, like, you have a little scuff on you. But to know that I was going to survive it, to have somebody ahead of me be able to say, you would have survived this, or put voice to what I was going through, was so helpful.
Right. You're highlighting and talking about like being strong and soft, kind of allowing yourself to go through the experience, but be open and soft to receiving like feedback and other people's perspective, and kind of applying that to yourself so you can understand your feelings more, so you can understand your sons more, so you can go through life without, falling apart and feeling like there are things that are uncontrollable, too many things that are uncontrollable.
Yes.
Because that's overwhelming, and who wants to feel powerless throughout their entire life?
Yes.
Right. So we have two more, Nakia. Let's see if we can figure these last two out. So this next one, the second to last purple one, says strongly affected, consumed, overcome with force. Strongly affected, consumed, overcome with force. Now, I think of a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings can be strongly affected and can consume us. And And it really can be a negative or a positive emotion or a feeling.
Right.
Let's see. Consumed, overcome with force. My first
Aggressive.
aggressive. I can see what you mean by that, because overcome with force, consumed, a lot of people, when they are aggressive, it's most of the time that's not the feeling or their emotion that they're trying to portray. That's
Okay.
kind of like the surface level, that first level
Gotcha.
that you
Yes.
see,
Okay.
but it's
Yes.
other things underneath that that's really driving that aggression.
This one I'm stumped.
Okay. We've said it a lot and multiple times at the beginning of our call and our discussion today.
Overwhelmed.
Yes. Overwhelmed. That lovely thing where we kind of just go like, I feel like our brain.
A lot of pressure. It is the pressure. I guess it's pressure instead of yes. Okay.
That's a good one. I wonder if this definition had strongly pressured, consumed, overcome with force. Would that be a little bit more clear to help people label that to overwhelm?
But I do love the force, because it is, you do feel forced. You feel forced to make a choice and you don't really know what the choice. I do. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just even speaking about it made me feel like,
right. Yeah. It's your emotions. One little thing that I'm going to just plug in here. Your emotions are like needy children. I'll say that, because they want to be seen. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be labeled. They want your attention from time to time. And if you do not give them your attention, if you do not label them, if you do not give them a little bit of your time, kind of what I was saying, you notice it and you put it down, or you notice it and you keep it, it'll keep coming up. And it'll get louder and louder and louder to where you have potentially maybe a big blow up. You might get overwhelmed, and it's not an overwhelm that you can calm yourself down to. So much so that you can potentially end up in feeling a whole bunch of emotions and feeling stuck.
Yes.
So they want attention. They want to be seen. They want to be heard, just like all of us when we were children.
Very much. We need it. We need to be tended to. It needs to. And the truth is they're going to get your attention one way or the other.
Yeah. You
can try and keep stuffing them as far back as you want. And you may think that you've walked away and left them on this path 3 miles from now. And then you're going to get to the front door and they're actually waiting for you.
Yeah.
They're not going to take no for an answer.
Yeah. You're the mother duck and all your little duckies are following behind you. Your feelings and your emotions are trucking right behind you. And if you don't look back, they're still there. Just because you're not looking at them.
Yes. And another way they're going to show up for you is in your body.
Ooh.
They're going to show up in achy joints. They're going to show up in overeating. They're going to show up in high blood pressure. They're going to show up in headaches. It's going to show up in elevated cholesterol. It's going to show up in fat storage. It is going to show up. Your body keeps the score.
Yes. Risky behaviors.
Yes.
Making the wrong. Yep. Making the wrong choice.
Yes.
Yes.
Your emotions have to be touched. They have to be unpacked. They have to be spoken to. They have to be given a name. They have to be put in a place, right? They all have to be, like you said, your ducks in a row. Bring them along. They're coming along with you, whether you want to feed them or not. they're coming.
They are. And one thing, like, no matter what, research shows that the best way to understand your feelings and someone else, kind of going back to that community and the connection that we definitely have to do something on, Nakia, it helps us understand and connect on a deeper level instead of
Yes.
just like surface level conversations and surface level relationships. It may be difficult from time to time to really be vulnerable
Mhm.
and speak out loud how you're feeling
Yeah.
in the moment, but it's so necessary because that's how we build genuine connection and honest relationships with people. It
Yes.
starts with us first being honest with ourselves and giving ourselves space to label how we're feeling and
Mhm.
what we're doing. And like Nakia said, it needs, our feelings deserve our time and attention. And imagine if, how was it when there were moments where you were told that you couldn't speak up or you
Yes.
couldn't feel that feeling or you couldn't move that way? You had to sit down, be quiet, and just be seen, right?
Yes.
I remember when I was growing up, kids were told to be seen and not heard. So how much practice have we really had out here as adults labeling our feelings and emotions accurately?
Right. Very true. I also want to say, as you're in tune with your emotions, you
Mhm.
get to see, have compassion and empathy for other people because you know when you run across somebody who has, say, their surface level behavior is just kind of a chip on their shoulder, they're just a little edgy. After you've unpacked some of your emotions, you get to look at people through a different lens and you
Yes.
get to see that edge isn't just an edge. Why is there an edge there? It does give you a level of empathy and compassion. Even if you don't know what it is, you
Mhm.
know that maybe that was you a year ago and you had something brewing under the surface. So it
Right.
lets you know that somebody else has something brewing under the surface. Does it mean to excuse their behavior? Absolutely not. But it
Mhm.
does give you a level of compassion and empathy to know, like, that edge isn't meant for me. They may be working through something. That sass was not meant for me. They're probably hurt by something else that they don't have words for yet.
Ooh.
So, or maybe they're coming upon the language and it's really great to see them walk through that. And they're like, then if you see that little edge peel away, that's a
Mhm.
really wonderful thing to experience as well.
Right, right. Your feelings and your emotions are information,
Mhm.
information to be picked up and either held on to or put down for the side for until you need to come and look at it or address it. And as we go to this last one, whew, what a time that we have had today. With the
I
start,
know.
my technical difficulties, we have made it to our final feeling on our
Yeah.
trip down Feelings Lane. And it is being without meaningful companions, unhappy and solitary.
Uh, I can
Mm,
speak to this one, and I would say that is the feeling of loneliness.
mm, mm.
I think and
Ooh.
meaningful companion doesn't necessarily mean a partner in the sense of having a husband or a wife. It could be um, maybe a confidant. It could
Mhm.
be maybe someone of clergy. It could be someone of your higher being. I think maybe some of that.
Yeah,
Um,
just you're absolutely right. It is lonely, feeling or being without, meaningful companions, feeling unhappy, being solitaire. It is a feeling or emotion that I think a lot of people are currently trying to figure out if that's the feeling or the emotion that they are supposed to be connecting with or they're supposed to
right.
label on themselves. And And lonely, you can be lonely with a partner. You can be
I was
lonely
gonna say,
within a community. You can be lonely in your house and have 10 people in it.
yes. Because if it's not meaningful, because meaningful, I think, is the key word right here. If it's not meaningful, you're going to be lonely. You can
Right.
have 50 friends, but if you can't be vulnerable with any of them, if you can't be yourself, if you can't be broken with them, if you can't be
Mhm.
sad and happy, you're still going to be lonely in that friendship.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
because you're going to be trying to add them into your life to feel something in you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, there's nothing external that you need to put into yourself to feel whole.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about us human beings, if anyone is spiritual, if anyone just acknowledges that there's a reason why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reason why we were gifted this human experience. And we first have to be okay with knowing and wanting to know, and being okay with being honest with ourselves first, so we can kind of disrupt loneliness from creeping in and taking over.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And loneliness and being alone are not the same thing.
No.
I think that people are very confused by that. Yes, and loneliness is, like you said, it's a very internal feeling, and I think we look external for the fill, and you're not going to find it.
No, you got to first, kind of what Nakia was saying earlier, sometimes finding joy and finding your purpose or finding meaning is you being able to decode your inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really being able to ask yourself, what are my goals? Where do I want to move? Am I making those decisions and choices that are leading me there? And the more and more you have those conversations with yourself, build awareness and get meaning, find meaning, or connect. I don't even want to say find, I want to say connect with your meaning, because your meaning is already here.
Right.
You're It's just you being able to connect with that meaning and being able to use it to kind of push you forward or propel you forward, so you won't have the solitary or unhappy moments or loneliness kind of jumping on you once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you guys hear me say jumping on you, and I strongly do believe feelings change. They are not facts. They can they can change. I can tell you right now, my emotions changed rapidly as I was freaking out that my internet was not working at the start of this call. And freak out, of course, is not a feeling or emotion. So let me go ahead and get some language and labels. I was not freaking out. I was frustrated, for sure. I was overwhelmed because in my mind, I said, well, is it the internet or is it just my phone and my computer that just doesn't want to work for me today, knowing that this is what me and Nakia have been waiting for?
I know.
So I was frustrated. I was overwhelmed. I was kind of embarrassed, if I'm going to be quite honest. And transparent and vulnerable, because in my mind, I'm thinking about, well, what's going to happen? Will I be able to get in? How are people going to view this live? Is it going to appear chaotic? So those are all the thoughts that were going in my mind as I'm feeling possibly embarrassed. So what did I do? I put embarrassed, set that down, because that wasn't going to help me throughout this live. I put overwhelmed, put that down, because that wasn't going to help me over the live. And I put down frustrated. And what I picked up was my purpose. I picked up my joy. I picked up my memories and the ideas and conversations that me and Nakia had about creating this live in the series that allowed me to make some room for myself to come on and do this live. And honestly, I've had no issues after the first 15 minutes of the call. So the universe is gifting me now, since I was able to notice them, touch all of them, but put some of them down that are not going to serve me in this live.
You know, the best part for me is I had a bunch of those same emotions too. Like, I really wanted this one. Like, I've been waiting for this one. And I invited a bunch of people to this one. But more than anything, I thought I put some of that stuff down, and I thought it shows us as we are. We showed up here flawed. There's a technical difficulty. I don't know that I have the wherewithal to edit this YouTube video that's going to show up later. Do I really want to edit that out? No. I didn't really necessarily have anything else to chat about because I have been so sporadically chatting on lives all day as my brain has been all over the place. What else am I going to talk about? Like, I want to talk about Feelings Lane, but I want Valen to talk about Feelings Lane. I want people to stay for this. So yes, I was with you, but it's a lot of, this is such an important topic. Talking about your feelings, working through them, asking for help. I am going to we have a digital download for the feelings wheel that I will add to my bio site. I'm also going to add to the website. I need to add that. It'll be up within the next 24 hours. If you would like it and you can't get to either of those places, please DM either Valen or I, send us an email or send us a text message and we will get it to you. I also implore you to, if you don't want to have a digital one and you really want a personal one that you can share with your family, please purchase one. They do have one on Amazon. Yes. Valen and I are looking for the cute glass ones for sure, because we want to add them to our tool chest. But your feelings are an important topic. And as we have talked through this series for the last month, we have seen so many different things that we needed to touch on relating to mental health, relating to feelings, relating to all of this. And so just to let you know that we will be back. We'll be back with more topics.
Yes. Being soft and strong. Kind of going back to our very, very first, and the title of this whole series. We're choosing to acknowledge when we're strong, because that is the representation that we lead with most of the time.
Right.
But we're also giving time and space and grace to tap into our softness, because we need both.
You do.
In our human experience. And we want to share that with you guys as often as we can, for as long as we can.
Yes, we for sure do. Again, like Valen mentioned, if you need mental health help, please check out your local listings. Please reach out to Valen or I. We can recommend you to someone, even if we aren't the people that you need to see. I am a coach. Valen is a therapist. Valen helps with your emotions, your past and your present. I am helping with your present and your future. We are great modalities together, but if you had to pick one, please pick Valen, and she will send you to me later. But definitely you have to tap into your emotions. You have to check in with all of those feelings in order to be able to move forward. Because if you don't handle the past, you cannot move forward. If you don't know what's in your way, I can talk you through a lot of that and we can have some discovery about it. But Valen can give you any therapist, but especially Valen, can give you a much deeper meaning, a much deeper awareness and identification. And it gives you such growth. Going to therapy is a hill that I will die on. If I had the wherewithal to go back to school, and if I didn't think that I would carry everybody else's troubles with me, I may have been a therapist. I feel so strongly about it. That doesn't mean that I would be great at it. I do feel like I would be a much better coach. I feel like if you're crying, I'm going to be crying with you. I don't know that I have the wherewithal to just sit and listen and be objective. I I do in coaching, but as far as like feelings, I hold everybody's stuff really dear. So
Mhm.
please stay connected with us. Please follow along. Valen, can you share anything that you have upcoming or anything that you want anyone to watch out for you coming up?
Oh, yes, yes. Once again, we are almost about to end for Mental Health Awareness Month. That is one of the months in the year that I try my best to kind of get out in front of different clients and different communities to just kind of push the awareness of noticing your thoughts, noticing your feelings, noticing your decisions, and if
Mhm.
they're really formulating the life that you really, really want. So what you can do, you can look out for my new website that is actually live. It has been live. Let's see, I made it live yesterday, I believe. It is www.valynk, VALYNK.net. You can check me out there. You can look at the services that Valynk Therapy provides, and check me out on my social media, Valen A. Kendrick on Instagram, and then Valen Hawkins on Facebook.
I hope that you guys follow along and check her out. Valen has really been putting herself in front of everyone this month, and I'm super proud of her. I wanted to share that I'm relaunching my private Facebook group. It was Blooming with Purpose. Now it is Becoming Me. It is a soulful space for growth and grace, and it is relaunching in January. We're going to meet every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You have to come to the group in order to get the Zoom link. It is going to be an interactive conversation. Please come and get encouragement. Please come and ask for support. Please come and just share what you may be walking through, because you may feel alone and somebody else may need your insight. Someone else may need to be seen, even if they don't want to speak about it in public. So there will be daily encouragement, journal prompts in the group that I'm relaunching. I'm super excited to really pour into this community. And I do have 2 coaching spaces open for one-on-one coaching. And we will also be opening back up the Empowered Transition Cohort, which is another 12-week program that we meet as a group. So the option for one-on-one coaching, the option for group coaching, and then the option just for community is there. So please follow along with our socials. If you would love to go to my website and sign up for the email, you will get email information consistently every week. And we hope to see you guys soon.
Yes, I have one more thing that I want to leave
Yes.
you guys with about feelings, just as we wrap up this series. I want you guys to understand how powerful our feelings and our emotions are. They're so powerful that they can motivate us to do something or think a certain way. So notice them, label them, touch them, and put them down if needed. They're
Yes.
very powerful. So be mindful of that.
Yes. Thank you, Valen, so much. I am so grateful that you agreed to do this. This has been, it wasn't even a labor of love. I just think it was an act of love. It wasn't work for us to come up with it. Ubiquity Educational Solutions really started the concept, and then you carried it along, and then we just continued to build from there. I see so many more prospects of us, so many more occasions where we're going to get together and talk about more things. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I am too, Nakia. Thank you so much for allowing me the space and going through this process with me, because this has been, if I can share another vulnerable moment with you guys, my first live series. Heck, my first live, my first series, my first consistent on Zoom, StreamYard type thing ever. And I can say it was darn scary. But looking back at it and being on this side of it, I'm so honored and so grateful and thankful for you and your platform and your community. And I see us truly doing something quite often together.
Yes, I do too. Yes, very much so. I thank you for trusting me with this process, for trusting me to even do your first of all of it. I
Yeah.
really trust you. I did it messy. I did it a little dirty the first couple times, and this is a step up. We're learning, we're growing.
Mhm.
We've only had one technical difficulty. I think that is very much a win. So I do know that people are getting benefits from our conversations. I've had really great feedback. Also, if anyone has any feedback, please leave them on our videos. Please leave them on our YouTube. Please leave them on our website or our Google pages. And we look forward to connecting with all of you again.
Yes, yes. Thank you so, so much. And you guys have an amazing day on purpose and be kind to yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Valen.
Of
Have a good
course.
day, friends.
You too. Bye-bye.